Hello, everyone. It has been a long 6, and that 6 months has been really brutal on both of us. Jules, I'm sorry. We're sorry for not having episodes, content, news, anything for 6 months, but it's been pretty brutal. Me, I was
Yeah.
finished. I was finishing up some parts of my college as well as tax season started. If you guys know me on the Getsilius, this is Matthew on the A1 podcast, I'm an accountant. So it's pretty hard to do many things at once as an accountant. So I'm sorry for everyone who's been looking forward to the second episode, but we're back. The return. We're here.
Yeah, we are. Yeah, even I've been busy, just job hunting, also getting my internet back, which yay, I finally have it back. Also getting a new computer. Trust me, trying to do online work without a computer is just as hard as everyone says. Getting a new microphone and everything, which yay, I love the snowball. Also I worked on a certain convention, which I won't say its name because it's not worth actually saying its name. And kids, I'm just gonna tell you now, it's fun to go to a convention. It is hell to work in one. So just stick to going to one.
Yeah. Speaking of going to one, speaking of controversies going to the convention, let's start with our first topic. You guys may have heard of it. X-Men Gold #1 came out a couple months ago, and we want to think about the spin on the controversy by the artist Saif, Ashad Saif, and posted a very warped. He didn't post a quote. He posted a number, a reference to a very very controversial Muslim quote, and it wasn't cool. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, a long story short, in X-Men Gold #1, right? It was that issue, right?
Yes, it was X-Men Gold #1. It was the start of Marvel's new relaunch of the X-Men properties because, believe it or not, Marvel listened to us and decided, you know, we can do X-Men books. We have Blue, Gold, Iceman as a book, Jean Grey as her own book. We have Old Man Logan still continuing. We have Old New Wolverine continuing. We have Weapon X. We have Cable getting his own series. If you guys stood those down, we also have Astonishing X-Men to come out soon. And that is about 5 or 6 books on the top of my head. So yeah, that's all the new X-Men relaunch line.
Yeah, if any of you thought that, oh, the X-Men are gonna be killed off, no, it looks like they're here to stay, and even with the whole Inhuman thing, uh, we, did you really think that they were going to cancel it? I mean, sure, the Fantastic Four are kind of on edge right now, but that's more Fox's deal than anything else.
True. Oh, and another thing also brought back Generation X from the '90s. You guys remember? And it's a different team. It's not Scott Lobel and Chris Bolacho, so it's not happening. We got Generation X, so everything's back. Everything cool is coming back for the X Men. They just really exploded that line. The line has at least almost everything, almost everyone. So we're good to go.
But we had this just one little speed bump where in X-Men Gold #1, in December 2nd, 2016, well, there's while the X-Men were playing baseball, uh, well, one of the longtime X-Men, I think
It was Colossus.
yeah, it was Colossus. He was wearing a T-shirt, and apparently on the shirt it says QS 5 verse 51, and that's something from the Quran.
Yeah.
And it and this is the passage from this is a reading from that particular passage. Muslims should not appoint the Jews and Christians as their leader.
And
Yeah.
here's the worst part. Kitty Pryde is, if you guys know her history of the character, she's actually Jewish.
Yeah.
And she's the leader
Uh,
of X-Men Gold, by the way. Classy.
yeah. And
And again,
also the writer,
Mark Guggenheim.
yeah, Mark Guggenheim, he's also Jewish by association.
Yeah, that's the place to put it. It was really offensive, and it was extremely more offensive in the sense that the artist Saif doubled down when when the editors asked him was it an error. He just said, "No, I did it on purpose." Like he was funny, and then he attacked people on social media. Then G. Wilson got her own piece of it, and then the
Of
worst part about
course.
it, the worst part about it is that he doubled down saying, "Oh, you know what happens when we use you in a way." And here on War Infinite I'm not gonna say I tolerate him. That was just I don't care what you believe in, but don't double down on being an asshole. Don't ever do
Exactly.
that.
And also, don't use the whole "it was just for comedic effect" card. No, if you were indeed offensive, apologize. Because here's the thing about comedy: if the people aren't laughing, then it's not so much them; it's just that you're not very funny.
Yeah, like a lot of like old jokes. Like everyone watches comedy. There's tons of racist jokes you all laugh at here and there, but it's the delivery of the joke that makes it funny. I mean, it's not your fault for finding it funny in some aspects. So that's a whole different argument later. But it's like, dudes, it's nothing funny about what A. Saif said, and he kept doubling down, and he took him off the book. I think issues 2 through 6 were used several fill-in artists to like Koi Fam and some others to redraw and get what he's done. I mean, after issue 6, um, Marvel's been using a bunch of other artists to clear up the book, and just pretty much he's off the books. They've been trying to find another artist to fill in on it. So I think it's Koi Fam and some others have been using to fill in. And Marvel's did a good job of appropriating this. The guy is off. If you bought X-Men Gold in the first printing, you will probably find it on his shirt. The second and third printing does not have it anymore. So good luck finding the original printing.
And I'm very sure the trades don't have that anymore, do they?
The trades will not have it, yes.
Okay, that's good.
The trades will not have it, yeah. I don't think they will. Unless they print them so far in advance, that would be pretty weird.
But, yeah, again, never use the whole comedy thing as an excuse for being an asshole. And also, if you have to think about it, if it's a 50-50 chance that, oh, this is going to be funny, don't do it. Like, I've done some offensive, there was one time I did a cosplay photo shoot, and a friend of mine, he was cosplaying as Grimm Jr., from that Billy and Mandy parody comic. And we were shooting in the worst possible place, a cemetery, and this is where it makes it even worse. It was after All Souls Day.
And for those who are not on Souls Days, you can explain that, Jules, people on the holiday.
Well, I'm not all that religious. Well, it's a kind of holiday that we have after Halloween where it's just honoring the dead, that sort of thing.
I see.
But on doing that here on Guam, apparently when I shared those photos, and yeah, it looks cool. It really looks cool. You can see it on my Tumblr. But to a lot of people, it was indeed offensive because this is a predominantly Catholic society. Like, I could say it's being too Catholic, but given the timing and the place where I was shooting, and also what a friend of mine was wearing, it in some ways I could see how it was offensive. The timing was very, very wrong. And I could have fought against it. I could have yelled, it's too Catholic, but no, I did the responsible thing. I apologized. I took down the photos and then just put them somewhere else.
The thing is also, you could have also posted it on, I think, since October 31st, you could have posted it like November 5th, like a couple of days later, and it would probably have less of an effect. It's just cold. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I clearly did not have any intentions of offending anyone, but that's just what happens when you don't think things through, which I did.
Yeah. And the thing is, you didn't double down on it. You were like, this is my art or whatever. Like, dude, just chill. It's cool. I understand. Like, I'm in your society. I'm in your country. Like that. And the guy, like I said, Saif, he just kept doubling down to a point, and he even doubled down the third time. He doubled. The second time he doubled down. The first time he doubled down, said yes, I intended to be there. The second time he tried to explain the quote in belief, and then we have G. Wilson, the writer of Miss Marvel Vultures, and she explained the actual meaning quote because she is also a Muslim, and it's like she explained the context, like, wow, this quote's actually super offensive. Saif's kind of a dick, and then he double down, saying, you feel about Jews, and like, dude, what the hell? Don't do that. And then he just got left with the book, and he's like, oh, I'm never working comics again. I forgive myself. I think in person, the whole spiel. He did the whole spiel, and he's off. So if you guys. Also, believe it or not, this isn't his first work. He actually worked at DC before. He was the Superman 2 artist for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be objective, he's not really a bad artist. He's not that great at it. He's okay. But the part that bothered me the most was that the fact he doubled down on his stupidity and was just offensive in general, and that he tried to play it off. It's almost similar to what happened to Ethan Van Scier, a good artist at DC. And he posted a couple of memes, several memes on his social media and several places about, he's a conservative, and that means he's a Republican, I guess, American politics, and it's okay what you believe, whatever. And he posted a couple of memes of people hanging themselves, saying, "If you don't like Trump, you just hang yourself," or something of that nature, which was really offensive. People didn't take kindly to that. And then he kind of doubled down, saying, this is my beliefs and whatnot. I don't care what your beliefs, it's still something you don't say. And one of his excuses was, I'm using social media. Was like, I'm trying to control how I present myself on the internet. I'm like, if you control how you present yourself in real life, shouldn't you do the same on the internet? Just saying.
Yeah, and also, don't try to fool me and say I'm new to the internet, or I'm new to social media, and it's 2017, and he's how old?
In his mid-40s, like upper 30s, mid-40s.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to buy. I mean, maybe if he was 50 or 60, maybe? But don't say that and expect people to buy it.
Exactly. It's just offensive in that sense, because it's just not respectful in many manners, as well as, I understand how people spend social media. It's not we have to play around PC culture. No, the way you present yourself in real life is the same way you kind of want to think how you present yourself on the internet.
Exactly.
A perfect example is myself. People find me funny in real life. I consider myself somewhat funny. So my Facebook feed or my Twitter feed is just me posting really, really memes. That's just 90% what I do. Posting my friend memes or whatever. So that's how I present myself. There is no way you would see me post some deep philosophical religion. I get a little political sometimes, but I would post a deep like Christianity is the wrong religion. The one true religion is sadism. No, I'm not gonna get to that. That's not me. Why would I do that? I don't talk about that in real life. Why would I talk about that on the internet? People got to start thinking in that terms. And I don't forgive Ethan for that, nor forgive Saeed for that. And Ethan still has a job at DC. Ethan worked at DC for a very, very long time with Jeff Johns on several books. I think Green Lantern and Flash. He was the Flash artist in Rebirth, and during the 2 run. I don't know if he's the current artist of Rebirth. I don't think so, but he also does many covers. He's a celebrated artist, and I don't really care that you're a conservative. It doesn't bother me at all. Everyone has a right to their own beliefs. But the fact that you double down, in a sense, on the fact that you generally didn't show a level of respect, because you think it's like, oh, it's funny, it's just a meme. I'm conservative, I have the right to believe this way. You have the right to believe this way, but you have the right to present yourself that way. Because if you do, people aren't going to have the same reactions. For example, Jules may not find a couple of my jokes unfunny. It happens. But if it comes out offensive, I should probably tone it down.
You do not know how racist and bigoted this man is.
Shut up, man. You want people going back to the coal mines. Back to the coal mines. Oh, crap, I'm in jail.
That is both racist and uneducated as you can possibly be.
So you don't have coal mines, you have pretzel mines. You're mining pretzels, right?
No. We don't have mines, period.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway, yeah. So we get it. He was trying to be funny, but the fact that he doubled down and didn't see the error of it, it's kind of clear that he doesn't really have the moral high ground here at all.
And as well, for Ethan's sake, he also doesn't have the moral high ground in what he his beliefs. And it's like, and guys, if you use social media, if you're a creator, this is a tip to you, because we're comic book guys, you guys send me easy into your beliefs, but don't just blast it. People are going to find it, because you're going to end up having people just arguing for you and against you. You don't want that. You, as a creator in the comic books, we just want you to give us good art. We want you to give us things that we want to see.
You hearing this, Frank Miller and Orson Scott Card?
Oh God, Frank Miller was drunk. We all know this. I love Frank to death. Believe it or not, I actually love Frank Miller for his Daredevil. I will never ever attest that. He's done so much great stuff in the 80s. So, Daredevil and Washington I didn't like Sin City so much, but yeah.
But
you know, as in real life, he's a little crazy. But the whole point of the matter is that I can't, like I said, Frank Miller's a total psycho, but he gave me Daredevil, so I'm conflicted.
nah, it's okay. It's okay. It's like it's okay to admire him for his art, but also even his recent works, like ever since actually a lot of things. It's not just the Holy Terror or even Aspar, well, All Star Batman and Robin.
Oh, that was god awful.
Yeah,
that was the worst. All Star, yeah. Dark Knight 3 wasn't that great either. I mean, take a side note. Dark Knight 3, it's finally over, guys. You can collect all 9 issues. It's over. The nightmare's over.
And I think the only reason why it was just okay was because he's not Frank Miller's not the only one writing it. He was a co-writer with Brian Azzarello.
Right, so he threw under the bus, and they saying, "Oh, it's not really my idea. It's really Azzarello. I had no say in it." But my book will be. When I write Dark Knight 4, when that comes out, it will be better. I'm like, sure, that was uncool. I didn't find that, and that's why I kind of started like leaning away from Frank in some aspects. Like that wasn't cool because Azzarello's a great writer. 100 Bullets, Wonder Woman. Come on, he wrote Batman. He's great. Azzarello's a good writer.
He is, even though I personally did not like his Wonder Woman series.
And his podcast is over. I'll see you guys next 6 months.
No. It's just some of the creative decisions didn't really work for me. By no stretch of the imagination is Azzarello's Wonder Woman bad. Of course not. I'm not saying that. It's just it was not my cup of tea. Same way as I can say Logan was not my favorite Marvel movie this year or at all. Like it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm not saying that. Don't translate into saying that's bad. It's just I wasn't entertained as much as other people.
Wow, I think you're a monster. How could you not love the emotional play of Logan? I mean, granted, it's completely skewed from the Old Man Logan comics. It has the spirit.
Yeah. Because I would see a mutated Hulk by now.
They don't have the rights to that. But to be fair, I'm gonna be real with you. It had the spirit of what Logan as a character is, like Old Man Logan. Yes. It had his spirit. He like that scene. If little spoiler, he actually yells, "I never wanted this. You people just keep doing this to me." I'm like, that's exactly what Logan is. He never wanted this life.
Yep. And he gets a little kid as a result.
Yeah.
An unwanted one, but okay.
Exactly. It's like I said.
But yeah, we're getting off topic here. So what's on our next topic? We veered off very far.
Well, after from the movies, we're gonna veer off back into the books. Marvel has launched within the last couple of months, they launched a bunch of brand new books. The Secret Empire event's still ongoing. I think it's 4 issues in. Well, 4 or 5 issues in. We got a whole bunch of X-Men books we just recently mentioned, and we got Spectacular Spider-Man just came out this week.
Yes.
With Chip Zdarsky and Cooper, and that book is selling like hotcakes. That's even the variant issues. Like, I think that is going to make Marvel go over the top for June sales.
Oh hell yes! And I am looking forward to the mass amount of books they're just going to publish right after the new Spider-Man movie.
Right.
I'm very sure we're going to get announcements for new books.
Right, and this is the part that scares me about all these new books happening, mostly Marvel, which I'm slightly more Marvel guy in some aspects, but the point is that I think Marvel is cannibalizing their sales. I mean, cannibalizing is that you have 2 books of the same thing competing with each other with the same thing. 2 caps competing with each other. Thor versus Unworthy Thor. Unworthy Thor is a miniseries. There's some rumor clouding might be ongoing. Who knows? Jason Aaron's best. We trust that. Yeah, now we have 2 Spider-Man books. They haven't announced that Amazing Spider-Man by Dan Slott will be canceled. So we have Amazing and we have Spectacular. So Chip Zdarsky versus Dan Slott. 2 Spider-Man books. Like, it's not like it's 2 Peter Parker books competing each other. It's insane.
It's kind of like the problem that DC had when the New 52 started and we had a plethora of Batman books.
Oh, jeez.
Even discounting like all of his side characters like Nightwing, or Robin, Batgirl or Robin in the Titans. it's like, or Catwoman or All Star Western. There was a plethora of Batman books. Like, we didn't need The Dark Knight because you know why they published it. It's just the name, and it wasn't really all that good anyway.
And then you had Batman versus Detective Comics. You had it's a cannibalism in its own way. You had three or four. You had Superman versus Action Comics. You had it versus Justice. It was a lot of these books just can't like no. The best cannibalism for the two was all of the Justice League books. International, Dark, America, Plain Justice League. Four Justice League books just competing with the same name. It was insane. I mean, yes, they were different teams, but they all came out like right on top of each other.
Exactly. And from what I understand, the only one that actually did well was just the main Justice League book, because that's the one that people are just going to go to. Well too. Oh, Dark did pretty well. Yeah. Even though I personally didn't, I mean, I read it just for Constantine, but that was it. And maybe Zatanna in her new stupid outfit. But anyway,
you just hate fish. You just hate fishnets, and I think that's why this podcast is gonna be over. And I'll see you guys next month.
I miss her old magician outfit. I really do.
Yeah, honestly, this is me being serious. It looks a little too much goth / punk rocker girl instead of a magician. Really, I agree with the aesthetics. I agree with you.
Yeah, they were going the whole supernatural route.
The thing is that if you compare it to Paul Dini's take on Zatanna, which is in print like all 30 issues, was it 12 issues, 20 issues? It's definitely a different take. So I got nothing against it. My major beef though with Justice League Dark was I think at one point Del Toro wanted to make a movie of it, but DC was like no, and then that made me sad because Justice League Dark, in my opinion, was kind of the dark book that DC wanted, but never really kind of.
But they got a movie out of it, at least.
An animated movie.
And also, but back on Marvel, yeah, I can see a very big problem with having all of these different books. It's not like with Deadpool where, yeah, it's Deadpool. People are going to love him instantly. But if we're talking about other books...
like Captain America, we have Steve Rogers and Sam Wilson. I kind of feel that's kind of cannibalism because both the stories are intertwined. You're forcing the readers to either buy both or buy one or the other, which is a cannibalism effect. In reality, this is my opinion, they should just been one book, just call it Captain America and put both stories in. I think it would have been much better. And each issue you swap off.
Or if you wanted to show off different characters, then just have them star in the same book in the same story.
Exactly. The best part is like, have you ever read Matt Fraction Hawkeye?
Yes.
Yeah, you know how some stories like towards I think around with some about Kate, some about Clint. They should just do that. That worked. I mean, it worked for Matt Fraction. It'll definitely work for this scenario.
Yeah, it's like we can have both. We can have both. Yeah, we can have Hawkeye and is she going by Mockingbird these days?
No, she goes by Hawkeye as well. Kate goes by Hawkeye as well.
Yeah, we can have both we can have both
Hawkeyes in one book.
We can have them both, and it was actually a very good dynamic. Like even just the first 6 issues, I really enjoyed this dynamic, especially where please tell me this videotape was on the outside of your underwear. Exactly,
and it could work for Captain America and Steve Rogers because they both have different ways. I mean, arguably the current Steve Rogers is a Nazi because Secret Empire, blah blah blah. It's a whole different thing. But they both at one point had different ways of solving a problem. Like Sam Wilson wants to get it done and be a real hero. Steve Rogers doing it from the shadows. It was interesting.
But you could tell this from the same book, though.
Exactly, and that's the point of cannibalism you're doing. I mean, I feel this is going to happen for Spider-Man because you have Amazing versus Spectacular, and it's like, buy both books. I mean, that's in the end, that's what Marvel wants. But in reality, I think they should be one book. But I don't know if they're because Spectacular is coming out. I have no idea if they're planning on ending Amazing sometime soon. And it wouldn't hurt me that Amazing ends. It's Dan Slott, but it wouldn't hurt me because Dan Slott had a really long run with Spider-Man, starting from Superior. That's like 5+ years. And nothing against Stan. He's a fantastic creator. He has one of my favorite She-Hulk runs, second She-Hulk. But in my opinion, he had 5+ years of the book ish, and he's been writing this character for a long time. And it wouldn't hurt me to see him take a break. The same way,
Yeah.
the same way it doesn't hurt me if Jason Aaron ended his Thor run like next year. I mean, it hurts physically, but like they've been doing it for such a long time. So.
Yeah, I mean these guys are good writers, and you can probably put them in any book, and they can get you invested in any character. It's like seriously, I didn't start reading X-Men books again until Jason Aaron was on or anything.
Oh, Wolverine the X-Men, that was great. He was not a bad teacher.
Yeah, and I'm very sure. I wonder if I'll still be if I'll still be attacked for this, but I was one of the very few people who actually liked Superior.
Superior Spider-Man? I like Superior Spider-Man. That was a great book.
Yeah, it's just like there's no problem just putting Peter on the shelf for a while and then just having Otto Octavius on the driver's seat just for a little bit.
It like was a very innovative Spider-Man story.
He's like he's trying to live up to Peter's legacy, but at the same time, it's still Otto, so he's still a dick in some places.
You mean a hero?
But he actually did improve Peter's life a lot, like a bajillion times. Like, let's just be real here. Otto, if it wasn't for Otto, Peter's life would not have improved. It really would not have.
Oh, no.
He wouldn't be the head of his own company. He wouldn't have all these new gadgets and everything. Aunt May wouldn't be walking.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Dan Slott was the same writer, so he kept on top of it. And what he did was Peter Parker inherited, became Parker Industries, and that's the current Amazing Spider-Man will happen. And now it's him being essentially Tony Stark. So.
Yeah, but it can still be Peter. I mean, yeah. When I actually put it on side by side and I see Peter coming in casual Hawaiian clothes, yeah, it's basically him being Tony Stark. Okay, I see the concern.
Yeah, exactly. But the idea is that that's a more cannibalism, and also happened for Bendis when he was writing both Iron Man books before he switched off Infamous and Ironheart for Invincible Iron Man. You wrote 2 Tony Stark books. Why did they do that? You could have put them in one story. You could have had one issue about his past, one issue what he's currently doing. You should not have. Not saying readers are cheap, blah blah. There's some times where it's better to put them in one book, making a better story than putting in 2 separate stories. I just felt that was a cannibalistic way of selling books because you're trying to make people buy more than what they really need in some aspects, or better yet, you try to make them pick and choose, which doesn't work. Especially for Iron Man's sake. Iron Man as a character is a great teammate. He does great in team books. Slowly, he's a solo character. He hasn't really done great or amazing outside of his clinical run with David Michelini, great writer, Demon in the Bottle, and Armor Wars. So come on, guys, come on, just don't do this to a character who hasn't had that much limelight. Oh, and Extremis by Warren Ellis.
And then there's like team books like the X-Men. Like, I get it, you want to show different aspects of the X-Men, but people are gonna get confused with the different stories and different teams. And yeah, I get it, the X-Men, there's like a gajillion X-Men, and that's not even counting like honorary X-Men or whatever. But,
right, but here's the
numerous books.
That's kind of a yes and no for X-Men. It depends on the character they're trying to promote. Because in X-Men's case, X-Men's always been a large universe since even the 70s Claremont days. The problem, I think, the problem with the current X-Men series is, just to be polite about it, is I think the current character they're promoting is Old Man Logan. Here's the thing: Old Man Logan has his own book. He's in X-Men Gold. He's in Weapon X. He's the leader of Astonishing X-Men. That's 4 books from Old Man Logan.
Yeah.
Like them having like X-Men Blue, X-Men Gold, what they're saying is you have the classic X-Men team plus I guess the new X-Men team, which is okay. My only beef though is the talent of these books are kind of spread a bit thin. Cullen Bunn on one book who is really good versus Mark Guggenheim, and then you have Charles Soule in the book. And then you have Tom Taylor, who's doing only Wolverine, and then you have two new writers outside of Dennis Hopeless on the other X-Men books, solo books. So it's like the talent it's a mismatch, and not mismatch bad. It's like the quality is a bit over because all these writers have a different style, and that's a good thing for sales, and yet sometimes a bad thing because let's just say like I'm an X-Men junkie. You gotta read everything, but everything doesn't read the same, and I get more confused because I was expecting some kind of connection between the books, but it's not happening.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that way.
No, I think they're trying to make
they're off in their own little adventures.
Exactly, and I don't know. We could talk like theoretically what Marvel's trying to do comically or what's the plan is. My personal thing is, from my perspective, I believe Marvel's trying to promote Old Man Logan. They're trying to promote him heavily, and I get it. I get it because he's in 4 teams and his own books, so I get it. I also think they're also trying to promote Jean Grey because she's in 2 books. She has her own solo series and she's in X-Men Blue, so that's good.
I can also have the sense that they're trying to redeem characters, like, let's say, Cyclops. They're really trying to put more focus on him.
Well, nowadays. He's not the leader of X-Men Blue anymore. He's like, it's Jean Grey, actually.
Oh, yeah, and even her, too. It's like, they're really trying to... They're not only trying to bring them back, they're also trying to, make people like them again.
Yeah, I guess it's yes and no in some aspects because, in my opinion, I think that making character likable is really, really hard in some aspects. Like, here's a perfect example. Gambit is a cool character from the 90s, but he's never really, really did well in solo series.
Oh, yeah.
So, making likable, it really depends on the writer. My thing when I think about that, I think is they try to show a character appeal more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, they think of a character. They think of a Marvel character. They've been promoting pretty crazy lately. Like outside of Deadpool in late early 2000s and 90s, they have been trying to promote the living crap. When I was younger, during the mid 80s, and I kid you not, the living crap out of not Elektra, not Daredevil. Remember the Avengers.
Yes,
they've been trying to promote the living crap of Avengers in like the late 80s and 90s, but I was because it's like, it's the Avengers. But the Avengers never really clicked to me until Bendis' run. And even then, that was the new Avengers. They actually treated them like they were the new Avengers. This is a whole different team. Like, Captain America was Captain America, that was Bucky. You had Wolverine as Wolverine, you had Luke Cage, you had occasionally Iron Fist. I like the idea because it wasn't a classic team, it was a new team. So, in my opinion, for them to make the characters more appealing, you have to pull them sometimes out of their comfort zone. Like, make them kind of okay. Like, the Iceman book, the solo series, the fact that you're focusing a lot on his homosexuality and talking about what that means to him, like similar to all new X-Men, I think that's pretty interesting. You're putting it out of the comfort zone, so that's pretty good.
And also, giving... I don't think we've ever had like an LGBT character take the spotlight in a while, like a long while.
Well, I would say a major character because the America, Miss America Chavez America.
Oh yeah,
she's queer, but she's not a face. She's never been a face character like Iceman is.
There was let's see, Midnighter from DC. He got a solo series for a while.
That's true. Well, they really, not to be mean on DC, they don't really do well with queer characters. They mention they're queer, but they don't kind of.
It's like it's either in your face or we're just doing this because.
It's more like they're gay and they just leave it as that. They don't explore like the needs of the character. And for Midnighter, Steve Orlando did a good job exploring the concept, but he did. Superman was a failure. He did explore the concept, did the best he did. He even did it with Midnight and Apollo, the miniseries that's out, that's currently completed at this point. All 6 issues are out, I believe. So yeah, my personal thing is DC doesn't do well with it just because they don't confront it, they don't use characters or make they don't make characters gay. It's like they don't really kind of
have the finesse necessary to
exactly. They don't really have the finesse.
I think the way to fix that is like don't just draw attention to that they're gay, but pay attention to the fact that we're dealing with a character. It's like there's more to a person than just their sexuality. It's nice to call back to it every once in a while, but there are more variety to a character, different aspects to a character than just them being gay. Like Wiccan and Hulkling. Another reason why I love them is not just because they were LGBT heroes, they were also trying to be legacy characters in some way, like another Avengers group, and also they were nerds.
Yeah,
Big
as well as their relationship just felt natural. Back to Batwoman. In Batwoman's case, controversial, Greg Rucka, whatever. The part that makes me mad is that she's lesbian, but she's eternally single. Like, really? Really?
I mean, she hooks up once in a while, but yeah, I miss Renee Montoya as the Question and their relationship together.
Yeah, and here's another blow up. Another blow up is that gets me a little bit mad. Is that DC Bombshells with Margaret Sauvage? She's amazing. Now, all those characters are fucking gay. Okay, let's just be clear. And DC's okay with that. Yeah, it's like this is why we mentioned DC lacking finesse with gay characters. It's like you can be gay over there, not in the main universe. That's how I kind of feel like.
It's like we're not saying don't do it, DC, but just try to do better. That's all.
And
anyway, yeah. Back on the cannibalism on comics. This may become a problem, but. Maybe not immediately, but we could see this in sales with comics competing with each other.
And we all know comics compete with each other in a sense, but it's blatantly competing with each other. Blatantly.
And it's going to be like, Marvel, you do know how much it takes to print all this out, right?
Straight up. Like, here's another thing. And the thing is that it's just... we'll see when time tells. Like, my personal opinion is like they'll try to boost the sales with like dumping variants because USA Avengers was the #1 selling book when it came out, when the first one that came out, because of a lot of the state variants with it. But after, the numbers went like shot back to the average Al Ewing numbers. And not to be mean to Al Ewing, he has a good following and fan base. But how do you go from a #1 comic per month and you just drop to your average numbers by issue 2? That's terrible.
And it turns out, it was just the variants. Like, I get it, it's gimmicky, but if it sells,
right, okay. Exactly, and that's that. It's also an element of cannibalism. Like, let's just say they want to sell more X-Men Blue issues. They get a whole bunch of variants by Mike Allred. It's for that book. Well, because they're going to compete with X-Men Gold, then X-Men Gold's going to suffer because of that. Yeah.
And it's kind of a shame because, like, after all this time, we thought that the X-Men were going to disappear or anything.
Well, they're all back. They're back in full force. 100%
they're back in full force.
Right.
And also, we still have a great opportunity to boost sales with of course, the new Spider-Man movie coming out. And do we really want Spider-Man to suffer right away? I mean, chances are there are going to be people picking up Spectacular. There's no doubt people are going to be picking up Spectacular after that. And,
right. But here's the weird part. What will happen to Amazing? Which is
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. What will happen to Amazing? And even though I haven't caught up with Amazing's still really good. It really is good. And it will make me sad when Dan Slott leaves,
or if he leaves. We don't know. Yeah, because we don't know. We don't know ourselves. We have to wait for Marvel to bless us. Alonzo, please don't break our hearts.
But yeah, this also combined with Marvel does have a let's see, Marvel's advertising so far. Their main advertising is it's either games or movies. In terms of their comics, like I haven't seen that much in terms of animated movies or anything. Like, so their advertising is kind of meh right now. And
yeah, it's like unless you're in the know, like us, or you go to your local comic book stores and they give those mini advertisement pamphlets, those cards, those postcards, you really wouldn't kind of know what's out
It's like, to some degree, DC does know how to promote their stuff. Like,
there. But
they go with
they
full-on
almost do it the same
interviews.
way. They're almost using the same
Yeah.
marketing tools.
And also the way in which, let's see, the online market, like, online, now you can purchase comic books online. Like, you could just read them online, and, that should be enough, for them, like, these days. And even if you don't want to, you still get them at your local comic book store, unless you're like me, where on Guam we get everything late. But
You gotta blame Diamond for that.
yeah, the whole thing with comic book cannibalism here, with all these books competing, it's either, there's only a few ways to fix this. Like, just have them in a succinct single story, or, let's not publish so many of the same book.
Or better yet, like, not to be mean, maybe you shouldn't have that many teams in certain books. Like at one point, as we just talked about earlier about DC Justice League books, you had Justice League America Dark International. That's 4 books. Oh, I'm sorry, 3,000 and 3,000. That's 5. You have 5 Justice League books, and only 2 of them kind of survived. That's not a good look.
So it's, if you don't want your books constantly competing against each other, maybe put a cap on how many books of the same book you want to publish. I would say at best 2 only.
Best part is that you're also using the same name. You could just call them different teams and treat them as a different title. Like, for example, right now we have the USA Avengers, the Classic Avengers of Mark Waid Avengers, and we have Uncanny Avengers. That's 3 Avengers books. That's fair.
And
the
also,
other team books. I'll continue.
And going back onto DC, when they published the Batman books, like, I think the only books that they really needed were just the main Batman book by Scott Snyder and Batman and Robin.
That was Tomasi, yeah.
Yeah,
that was Tomasi and Gleason.
Yeah, I think those were the only 2 books they needed. Like, okay, maybe 3 if you wanted to keep Detective Comics around, even though you ruined the numbering. Thanks.
Lols. But yeah, like, I think and give them different names. Like, give the book a different team name, give their own title, because it's like right now, this is all of the X-Men books we have, team books. Astonishing Blue, and Astonishing Blue Gold, Weapon X. I kind of felt that Astonishing X-Men is a legacy title. They should call them X-Force, because the team is Psylocke, Gambit, Wolverine, Bishop. That's one of the characters, and I forgot the other 2 on the cover, but just call it X-Force. But yeah, in general, I think both DC and Marvel kind of get it. But for team books, they got it right. For the single character books, it's just weird. Like, for example, you have Totally Awesome Hulk and the new book Hulk, which is She-Hulk. Which it's a cool idea to call She-Hulk Hulk, but it's kind of competing with Amadeus Cho, because he's the Totally Awesome Hulk, and it's not Bruce Banner. So, whatever.
So there are ways to do this, Marvel, but there are also ways not to do this. And if you stay the course, there may be problems. There are ways to fix this. Let's just hope that you're not just. Let's just hope you're not just talking to air.
Right, or just pushing out shovelware books like Solo. Seriously, we're really gonna read Solo? But anyway,
so
after doing our rough check on Marvel, let's do the rough check on DC. It's been 6+ months since Rebirth. I think
really?
I'm okay.
I feel like it's been almost a year. It's like, I'm looking back at my Facebook, and then, wow, been a year already since Rebirth?
No, Rebirth started around September, October last year. They want to say it hasn't been a year. DC
Okay, so
Rebirth.
close to a year.
Yeah,
So
it's around
almost a
6.
year.
Yeah,
And a year since since the new 52 branding ended, and I
hooray!
have to say, so far with Rebirth, it does still feel like a fresh of breath air after so long, and created a lot of really good creative decisions, and also a bigger emphasis on heroics, which is very refreshing.
Yes
Um,
and no. I'm the opposite of that. I think that we can do a evaluation people don't want to hear this, but some of the books are not in great shape. The
oh
G
yeah, I'm not gonna deny that.
the GL books are just so almost bloody awful. Both Hal Jordan and the Plain Green Lanterns book.
Yeah,
The,
I had
the,
high hopes for this one.
and then there's Constantine. Constantine's is doing okay, but they're switching the creative team to Team Seeley be taking over the book, and I'm a little scared because I don't think DC wants to cancel the book because again, New 52 they canceled so many books, they lost so much favor with their audience, and as you are more a DC fan than you're like, I can't trust these guys. They're gonna cancel my book anyway, or something of that nature. So I think
And
they're
also
switching. Oh, continue.
And also, after the loss of the Constantine series, yeah, I don't think they want. And trust me, a lot of people were not happy about that.
Oh yeah, they Constantine. Then they called it the Hellblade. The first Constantine was terrible. It was like 20 plus issues with Ray Fawkes. Not a bad writer, but that was rough. And then you had the Hellblazer. That was like 12 issues. And then now they have the new Constantine done by Simon Oliver and Moriarty. And they're like,
I feel like Constantine is just getting a bad run so far.
yeah, and it's going to switch. I think the thing with Constantine, this is my opinion, they should have just put it in the young animal section where it can be adult. Constantine is a dark drama. You cannot tone him down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not possible.
And there's nothing they could do about it. I think they should just kept it as a dark drama to like the Peter Milligan and the Warren Ellis and Garth Ennis runs. Those were fantastic. You have that spirit and just put a young animal because young animal could do almost whatever they want. Dark books. Look at Doom Patrol and Cave Carson and Cybernetic Eye, which is okay, and Shade, the Changing Girl. Those are good books.
But for one of the forerunners of Rebirth, not exactly a good idea.
Exactly.
I mean, although, looking back, yeah, there were a lot of failings with Rebirth. Not every initiative is going to be perfect, but just at least for the main forerunners aside from Green Lantern, it's been an interesting ride. Although I do have one, are we still sitting on the Dr. Manhattan thing?
Yeah, we are. They remember the crossover event between him and the Flash. That's still happening. Well, that finished. That story had finished.
Okay, I need to finish the button.
Getting the button, yeah. But the thing also is, it's like a tease, it's not a tease, but my thing is, there's a couple of books I agree. Like, for example, in my opinion, Detective Comics should not be called Detective Comics. There is no detectiveness whatsoever. Just call it Batman: The Outsiders. Done.
Exactly. But let's. Can we just get to Dr. Manhattan already? Like, I know that it's kind of a weird decision to make, and I can only imagine Alan Moore just rolling his eyes right now, or possibly breathing fire,
or spraying the snake god to eat Dan Didio's head.
Yep. You know what? I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
Snake god eating Dan Didio's head. You're terrible, man.
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing we've had like some change in power, like with editors and stuff who really do know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, like believe it or not, as I think our first episode, I think you guys may have heard, I think we crapped on Scott Lobdell pretty hard. I think, or if you guys don't know, we crapped hard. Believe it or not, the new Red Hood and the Outlaws with him and Dexter Soy is actually enjoyable because one of the editors, like Alex Matone, freaking amazing. Lily's on top of that guy. That book is just a great book. Scott Lobdell's writing is meh, but just like great editing. That's a perfect example of like good management.
It's like the last time I have ever read a good book from from Scott Lobdell was during Convergence. That's when he was handling the Blue Beetle book, and it had the Charleston heroes, the Question, the old Captain Atom, the classic one, and I think it was Charleston Blue Beetle. Yeah, forget Ted Cord, the old Ted Cord, yeah. before Crisis.
Yeah, before Jaime.
It was actually pretty good considering they were up against the Legion of Superheroes, and only one of them has superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
So when Scott Lobdell is on a leash, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, believe it or not, like as an older guy, I think my opinion, Scott Lobdell's best book was the Generation X series he did with Chris Blanco. Sorry if I'm butchering that name, because he's the current artist on Doctor Strange with Jason Aaron. But the bummer part about it is, yeah, Scott needs to be reined in. Otherwise, you get like the first half of Red Hood and the Outlaws, New 52, or you get Red Hood and Red Hood and Arsenal. You get books like that. Someone to tell him, "Yo, stop this now."
Yeah, there are, like, let's, for example, Mark Miller, in a way.
Mark Millar as a writer, I don't trust him anymore. And this is not to get off topic. It's not because, his work's going on. It's that I know he's not going to do an ongoing on time or be complete about it. He's going to do a whole bunch of minis that's just going to hurt my heart because a lot of the ideas should just be longer. I think Starlight should be an ongoing series, but it's not. It broke my heart. So things like that.
And on the case of, like, let's say, well-known heroes, like well-known books, like with Superman, it's like whenever he's left alone, he goes all crazy, and he brings sort of his style from the Authority into his books where he should not. It's
are you talking about Superman Red Sun? I mean, when he became of Russia, that was actually a pretty cool story.
No, that was pretty good, but he still had reins on him. When Mark Millar has a leash on him, he's actually pretty good. Or if he's left in his own sandbox, then he's pretty good. When it's a sandbox that we're willing to give him. And also, he did a lot of tie-in books for Superman the Animated Series. And whenever, what I'm saying is that whenever he's on a leash, he does good work. He also does understand Superman, almost in any context.
True.
It's just when we take him off, okay.
It depends. Like I said, I personally, because his minis, he does it independently. I personally think his big two stuff is going to be printed forever, like Old Man Logan. Without him, we wouldn't have Old Man Logan.
Oh yeah, which was fun to some degree. I mean, Mutated Hulk. Come on.
Yeah.
In a post-apocalyptic world.
Pretty much, it was nice. But I guess to say, I guess I'll rebirth check. I personally think DC is in an okay spot, but they're trending slowly. I think that if they have to cancel some books, it'll be okay. I do not think that this is me being honest with you, the fan base, the DC fan base is going to be like, oh, how could you do this? But even they can see, some of the books they look at are a little bit on the weak side. And it's okay. Like for example, the Blue Beetle series. I don't think anyone's talking about that. I love Keith Giffen. Come on.
Yeah, I think it's about time we shook up the status quo a little bit again. Like, it's been a while and we're growing a little bit stagnant. I mean, some things are happening in their individual books, like, oh my gosh, it's Superman, Mr. Mystics. I can't pronounce it.
Or you read Nightwing, and he officially I'm not hanging out with Batgirl anymore. I got a new girlfriend. It's not Batgirl. That's kind of nice,
Or let's say, or with Wonder Woman, it's more like it's a retelling of her origin. At the same time, I want to see I want this to come full circle already. This is more of like a retelling of her origin again. But we first got onto this book with her going to discover it. I thought we were gonna go like on an adventure where we find the full origin of her, like she's gonna discover herself again. But no, it's like it's a full-on flashback of when she first met Steve,
Mhm.
which isn't bad, but I would like things to move on a little bit now. And also, again, it's been almost a year, and we're barely touching on Dr. Manhattan or whatever took away 10 plus years of the DC universe.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though. It's like they're kind of teasing about that. That's just like they do it every quarter, and I think the next quarter, which is now, it's going to be sometime in October. Because believe it or not, my current theory is that during September October, which is New York Comic Con, they're going to announce the next continuation of the Button Dr. Manhattan story. So we just all got to wait for that. I personally had this feeling that, oh no, we're staying alive, guys. Chill, chill, chill. They're gonna do it. They've been teasing us for a year. This is Dan Didio's fault anyway. So I'll blame him anyway.
Speaking of events, that this might have something to do with it. DC's new event.
Oh, the Dark Days, Dark Metal, yeah.
You know what went through my mind when I first heard about this? It's like, well, DC is fine. DC has been doing all the positive stuff for almost a year. It's like, okay, we might as well just give them this one chance to do something really, really dark. Fine.
I'm personally not very happy with it because it seems like as great we're talking about how DC's doing well and saying Marvel's doing okay as well, here and there. DC has shot themselves in the foot. This is from my perspective again because it's like they didn't learn from before. Why do you have a book, an event book, with multiple artists and multiple writers? That too many soups in a book doesn't work. Stop doing that.
When did this happen the last time with DC where they had too many chefs in the book?
Robin Wars, Batman Eternal, Batman Robin Eternal, the both of them. It's too many. The one where they killed Terry McGinnis and brought him back. I don't like that. I just don't think it's idea. I mean, thank God this time it's not a weekly series. They learned that, but jeez, don't do this.
Oh fuck no, Just like if this was like if it was like with all their other books where it's like bi-monthly, like no.
Oh, they kind of stopped that. Most of them are not kind of bi-monthly. But some of them shift to monthly.
Okay, good, because that was freaking annoying me.
Yeah, I think some of the books price points jump up back to $3.99, but they tried. I personally think it was unsustainable because you had to pay a lot of artists. A lot.
Yeah. But at the very least, I mean, but back on Dark Days, too many, they're good talent, but again, too many hands in the pot, too many chefs right now.
Exactly, because like in what's like you have Jim Lee and Romita Jr.'s art styles, and then Klaus Jensen's a great inker, the best, but still, come on, please stop. I would much rather have a focused event with like one writer, artist, inker. That's it. It's not you're being simplistic. You can have those other artists draw covers or fill in for issues. You should not have them drawing 2 pages on top of each other.
But when you're having, let's see, I think there was also another thing with, let's see, what was another? I'm trying to think of another event where there were too many people, because most of the time you would think, oh, it's an event, it's just one person. It's like Jeff Johns with Infinite Crisis, or
Jeff Johns with Everman Skier, or Jeff Johns with Mike McCone for Teen Titans. Those days, no.
Or like Jim Shooter and Secret
Mike
Wars.
Zeck,
yeah. So like you would think it was just gonna be that. No, we have to cram it in there to cram enough star power.
Yeah, we have to cram 100 dudes.
Guys, this isn't like a TV series where we sometimes have rotating writers for different episodes. This is just an event that's going to last for, who knows, like maybe 6, 10 months, maybe a year.
Yeah, most events, most comic book events last like 3 to 4 months, 6 months, depending. Not a whole year. That would be insane.
I don't know. What was the last? Wait, no, that was that an event where Batman. Let's see, it was from issue 23 to 35.
Are you referring to the Snyder Days, like Death of a Family?
Yeah, no, this was after Death of the Family. I was trying to think. Was it Batman? Oh, no, it was nothing to do with the Riddler. I forgot. This was a while ago.
Oh, you mean the Riddler Joker War? That was like 3 issues, dude. That's the standard arc.
No, I mean like the one with the Riddler. Like we're trying to figure out the Riddler. Like the Riddler was prominent in it. Never mind. But
You're referring to Chuck Dixon days, like Nightfall. That didn't last. I think Nightfall was like a super event.
But yeah, if Dark Days is only gonna last just for a few months, this is easy to see. It's gonna be seeing all these writers and artists in one series that's only supposed to last just for a few months. Yeah, we can see the super compressed problems with this.
Like I know this was a spin-off to the Dark Days, the Dark Forge books that Snyder is working on. Like Capullo's on that book, those future books. But come on.
Also, was Future's End even that good, or was it
Future's
worth
End, that
checking
was
out?
it. Future's End's a cluster mess, dude. I'm not even gonna get into that. That would take like a legitimate podcast for me to talk about Future's End.
It's like when I first read it, it's like this is the Terminator. This is the Terminator.
Hasta la vista, DC.
Okay. All right.
Man.
Just we're not gonna bother with this. It's like okay.
Yeah.
But what else about Dark Days can we say about that? We can only assume through speculation. Oh, it's maybe like let's try a quote from Dan DiDio. We're not going to just go from event to event with the idea that's only thing that sells a comic, but we're going to do events that really help drive our majority storylines. And when we have moments in our line that we think needs to be elevated and put under a much bigger spotlight. No, you're using the star power just so that way you can sell books.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that all these guys on that book are heavy hitters. I mean, Tynion's a good writer. Just saying. So is Snyder. Jim Lee's just famous, bro. I mean, I'm not a fan of his art so much, but he's famous. I mean, that's why he put him on Suicide Squad the first like 5 or 6 issues. So don't. And Romita Jr. is a good artist. He's not my favorite, but I know him.
Yeah, and Jim Lee, well, his art is standard by now. It is the standard. Not to dismiss his skill or anything. It's just it has become the standard now. You expect it.
Well, I would say the standard for DC.
Yeah.
I personally do not.
Not in general.
In general, yeah, it's somewhat, yeah, because I'm like when I think of Jim Lee's art style, it's just not to be mean. It didn't age well. It didn't age well. That's how I feel about it.
And also Jim Lee, just keep him in the art. Just keep him in the penciling position. Just keep him in the penciling position. It's fine.
Don't let him write. Don't ever.
No, I've seen what it looks like when he's writing. It's bad.
Yeah, you want to see a therapist, but yeah, Dan Dio, come on, don't lie to us. You're spamming stuff.
Well,
at least
totally not an attempt to try and boost sales.
Never again. But
and we're just going to advance our storylines. Like, what is going to cross into it exactly?
Those Dark Metal books, the Dark Future books, the one which was Snyder and Capello will be doing soon. So yeah.
I think it will be an okay, at least with Snyder and Greg Capullo. I think they can bounce off each other well. At least I'm very sure better than Frank Miller and Brian Azzarello, where Azzarello's only there to correct mistakes, and I'm very sure it's a very
and then
job.
take the bullets for me.
Yes, very sure that's the only reason why he's there.
What a terrible time.
So, but anyway, I think it's best we move on to recommendations.
Yeah, because this month is winding down. I'm going to recommend a lot of books that are currently out now. not much that came out in June 2017. I'm going to recommend Supergirl Volume 1, The Rebirth, done by Brian Sheen and Steve Orlando. It's actually a pretty decent emotional roller coaster, and it's the first time I'm kind of excited for Supergirl book, and I hope it turns out better. I hope the book goes up from there. If you're reading it, there's trades, and I definitely recommend you guys check out the trade.
A Supergirl book with the feels.
The feels, yeah, the real feels. I mean, it's a little repetitive, and it kind of hits the theme on your head, but I definitely recommend it. Another book I recommend is Motor Girl Volume 1 by Terry Moore. If you guys don't know, Terry Moore's a genius. He's the best. And Terry Moore has been cranking out. This book is a lot more different compared to his other works. Compared to his last book, Rachel Rising was a horror mystery type. Was a horror philosophical book that talks about God and whatnot. This book is more about a woman's dealing with PTSD and dealing with strange things happening in her life. And apparently, it's a very funny noir in some aspects. It has a lot of elements. Definitely check it out. And it's Terry Moore. Come on, Terry Moore.
Like, if any of you've ever read Strangers in Paradise, then there you go.
Pretty much. Or if you haven't, you read Echo, his most recent book, Rachel Rising. You'll like this book, guaranteed. Another book I'm recommending is Unworthy Thor with Jason Aaron and Oliver Coipel. It's a miniseries that explains what made Thor lose his hammer, and it gives a much more teasers might happen next in the Thor universe. Check it out.
Does it explain as to what Nick Fury said to him when he dropped his hammer? Okay. Yeah. I will want to read this because I have been itching to figure out what the hell did he say.
It also would have hurt if you've also been reading the other Thor series as well. Everything connects, starting from God Bomb till now.
So,
yeah, and the final book I'm going to recommend is a book I got recently to review. It's Roughneck by Jeff Lemire. Jeff Lemire is both drawing and writing it. It's a really well done emotional thriller. The best part about the book, Roughneck, that taking place outside of the art, is that how strong and compelling the book is in an emotional sense without telling you so much. You learn much of the main character's flaws of his father. You learn about what happens to his sister, and there's not much interaction, but you see it, you sense it. It's very, very gripping. And I definitely recommend this book for all Jeff Lemire fans. Anyone else looking for just a great one-shot graphic novel to read, train ride or cozy over the fire, or, as my friend in Guam, watching the never-ending monsoon season.
And also, trust me, Jeff Lemire actually has a lot of writing power under his belt. I will always love his Animal Man run and also Sweet Tooth, and he's just he is the only writer that I can say, aside from Neil Gaiman, who can both creep me out and intrigue me.
Yeah, right now Jeff Lemire's on top of his game. His Old Man Logan run has ended around issue 24, 25. He's still running Moon Knight, as far as I know, from Marvel, and he still has his independent series like Descender, which is the 4th volume's out now. If you guys haven't checked out the series, but anyway, that is me and Jules for Infinite Panels number 2. Great return.
Sorry I couldn't recommend anything, you guys. Let's just say, without internet and without a laptop, it's kind of hard for me to read comic books. Although I did finally read Secret Wars, the original one, and
Mike
it was
Zeck.
Awesome. Yes.
I find it funny that I'm the old school guy. I'm recommending current books. You're like, yeah, I'll recommend something old school. We just swapped spots this one.
Just for a second. But anyway, yeah, guys, thanks for listening in, and hopefully, now that everything's in order, I'll be able to come back more often.
Yeah, we'll definitely be able to do this podcast often. Thanks again for your patience. We'll be back next month, giving you some news, tidbits, and much side parenting of how much Snake God will kill Dan Didio.
Great Apophis, please bite off his head.
Alright, see you guys next month.
See you guys later.